This is exactly right.
This episode is supported by FX's The Shards, a seductive drama from executive producer Ryan Murphy.
Set in 1980s Los Angeles, the series follows a group of glamorous, deeply entangled high school seniors drawn into a life of wealth, beauty, parties, and excess.
At its center is Brett, whose reality begins to unravel when the arrival of a new student coincides with a series of mysterious murders. FX's The Shards, now streaming on Hulu.
Goodbye. Everyone loves the idea of spending an afternoon curled up with a good book.
Well, grow up, because it's almost impossible.
Luckily, you can take your next great story with you on Audible.
Audible has a massive selection of titles to choose from, including This American Life, new books by Michael Connelly, along with classics from Agatha Christie, and so much more.
Whether you want a mystery, a true crime story, or something completely different, there's always something new to listen to.
New members can start listening with a 30-day free trial at audible.com/MFM.
Audible, stories that speak to you.
Goodbye.
The best time to think about home security is before you need it.
That's exactly why there's Simply Safe.
Traditional home security only alerts you after a break-in has already happened, and that's too late. Simply Safe is changing that.
Simply Safe's US-based live agents identify threats on your property and help deter them so intruders never get to your house.
The system is customizable so you can build one that fits your home and your specific needs.
The 24/7 professional monitoring is effective and affordable and won't lock you into a long-term contract.
I think that's what's so scary for so many people is that long-term contract. And like, what if it turns out you don't like it or need it, but they don't have that because they know you'll like it and you'll know that you need it and feel so much safer when you have it. Like at this point in my life, I would never go without a security system on my house. I just feel safer with actually having Simply Safe around.
There's a whole staff at Simply Safe that's waiting to talk to you and help you out. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplysafe.com/MFM.
That's half off at simplysafe.com/MFM.
There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Goodbye.
Hello. And welcome
to My Favorite Murder.
That's Georgia Hardstark.
That's Karen Kilgariff.
That was really high.
I know. I thought I'd put a lot of enthusiasm behind it.
Are you excited? Is this your day?
So excited. This is my day. Actually, I got a new mattress today. So this might be like the rest of my fucking life has changed day.
It's day one of new life.
Yeah.
New mattress life.
That's what happens when you get old is like mattresses
crucial
change your life and sneezing too hard hurts your back. So here I am.
Is it one of those hospital mattresses that sits you up like you're in a full body cast? Is it one of those guys?
I can't pull the trigger on those because it seems so ridiculous. That's like right. But
you would if you could.
Like if I could try it for a couple nights, I would.
And then you could affix like a small television up to kind of the ceiling up near the top. So you're always just, your neck is always in a really good position upward.
Can I tell you a thing about me? That's like one of my things. Like I can't go barefoot in the house, but also I can't do TVs in the bedroom. It depresses the shit out of me.
Oh, that's
like
very...
it's like a deep thing I can't do.
I get it. That's very holistic of you. I'm sure it's much better for you not to have it in there.
And it's not like I don't think people should have it. It's totally fine. It's like I can't have it. It'll make me sad.
Yep. It's the same thing with me when lamps are left on and they're on in the daytime.
Like when you wake up and you come downstairs and the lamp's been left on and it's like dawn.
Nobody shut the house down. That's bad vibes.
Shut the house down.
Nobody locked up and shut it down and, made sure the dog had water. Nobody? Okay, well.
Nobody.
I don't like that.
That's a good one. I can absolutely feel that one in my bones for sure. Like I get it.
Usually an exception, not a rule in our household. But I think the first time it happened, it was like when I had roommates in my 20s. And of course it was in there completely unprocessed. And I was like,
right.
Turn that off. Like it was the weirdest reaction. And then
I left that on.
Just like, I'm going to go walk around the block for a second.
Just pure rage that someone didn't shut things. What else didn't get taken care of when you went to bed?
It's like, this isn't right. And there's a lot of households where they're like, oh yeah, we used to do that sometimes because blah, blah, blah. You know, grandma needed a glass of water or whatever, where it'd be like completely fine for other people. But it's like, no.
I do it when Vince is out of town because if there's an intruder, I don't know. I want to give them light. I don't know.
you want to give them pause in the doorway to be like, uh-oh, is someone reading a book late into the night?
It's 3:30 in the morning and that light's still on. That must be an awake household with a, aggressive, scary dog. I'm not going to break into that house. So I'm going to skip that one.
Yep. Good plan.
Yeah. Thank you. What's going on with you?
What is going on with me? The huge. I think it's all the huge, but we were just complaining, Alejandra, Aristotle, and I, we were all just talking about how hot it was this weekend in Los Angeles. And it was a humidity hot, which no one here understands or can deal with unless they're a transplant. Myself being a native Californian, I was just kind of like, what? I did not agree to walk into the shower. What's happening?
Heavy air? Like, who created heavy air?
Heavy, like weird post-shower bathroom air, which people on the East Coast are like, sure, that's summertime to us. And we're just like, what? It's crazy.
It's like a steam shower, but outside of your shower.
And it was like that all weekend long.
No,
it was wild.
You have a Twitter thing to talk about?
Oh, it's not really a thing, but it was really nice of Aaron, whose handle on, I guess, what we call X, but really we shouldn't be talking about it all, is at EMACD33. It's hard to offboard these things that we've been addicted to for years at a time.
Yeah.
But it was very nice of Aaron to write to me and say, perfect pronunciation of Chelmsford.
Oh.
I mean, the odds are so against that.
Yeah.
And the fact that Aaron knew to celebrate that tiny victory for me is really meant a lot.
It's a win. It's a win.
We got to take them anywhere we can because the odds of the fact that was supposed to be a silent L and a silent fucking D or whatever the tricks of the trade are.
The tricks the people who named our great nation play on us.
I think that one was a British one.
The tricks that the Brits play on us are wide and far-reaching.
Very true. So true. How about you? Anything to report?
I mean, not really. Like, I'm halfway between two books and I'm, listening to therapy podcasts, like nothing.
Oh,
you have a book?
No, I have a podcast.
Oh,
but
cool.
I think most people, this is one of those things, and this is why I love TikTok so much. One of the many reasons. But the people on there are so ahead that they were talking about this podcast as if it's old news. And I'd never heard it before. And it is a podcast called Scamanda.
Oh, yeah. It's huge, right?
Oh, you'd already heard of it?
Well, it's like on the top lists everywhere.
Oh, is it?
What is it?
Congratulations to the Scamanda people. Let me give you a little bit of information about it.
I mean, it's got the word scam in it, so it's a Karen-centric thing immediately.
It is. So it's hosted by, I'm assuming, a British woman named Charlie Webster, and it's from Lionsgate Sound. And it is the story of a woman who, for years and years, scammed people out of money, claiming that she had cancer.
Ooh, one of those.
It seems simple on the face. What I find fascinating is just when people do stuff like that, where it's like the real bold moves, right? We know it is probably, odds are it's approaching some mental illness, right?
Yeah.
There's some sort of feed you're getting off of people feeling bad for you, you talking about your illness all the time, and blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's Munchausen. It's like original Munchausen, not by proxy, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. They're not making someone else sick, but they're also not actually sick.
Right.
They're not making themselves sick.
And they know that,
And they're fundraising for themselves. So the whole thing is a true scam in the most cynical sense of the word.
Yeah.
But it is wild. I binged it so quickly.
Wow,
it was hilarious.
You already know that. Holy shit. Okay, I'll get into it for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to spooky books, like haunted house books.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, there's this author named Riley Sager who writes these like straight up haunted house books. The ones I'm listening to is called Home Before Dark. And it's like, this single woman whose like parents wronged her. And so she's going back to the house she grew up in. That's like basically the Amityville like story that her dad wrote about the house, and she doesn't believe it's just like she's like fuck arounding and finding outing right now in the book. You're like, she's gonna find out, we know.
She's gonna.
Yeah.
I would hope in a book like that.
Yeah. It's not like the ending is gonna be like, and it wasn't haunted. It's like,
and now I love my dad.
Right. Right. All right.
Well,
should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it in Exactly Right corner. Shall we?
Yeah.
Hey, we have a podcast network called Exactly Right, and here are some highlights.
So our new and first True Crime Limited series, Infamous International, The Pink Panther Story, is now available wherever you listen to your podcasts. So be sure to follow that show. Right now, episodes 1 and 2 are up. You might have heard about the heist at the Wafi Mall, the Pink Panthers' over-the-top theatrics, and a bit of history behind their formative years in Serbia. It is a very exciting series. We don't want you to miss a single episode of it. So go over now to the feed and listen to Infamous International.
Also this week on That's Messed Up, an SVU podcast, Kara and Lisa cover Postgraduate Psychopath, a gruesome episode from SVU's 22nd season.
And on I Saw What You Did, Millie and Danielle have curated an extremely curly-haired 1980s double feature. It's Moonstruck from 1987, starring Cher and Nicolas Cage, and Crossing Delancey, one of my very favorite movies of all time, from 1988 with Amy Irving. A lot of curly hair.
I didn't know that about you. I think Moonstruck's one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's a fucking special one.
Moonstruck is one of the greatest movies. That's definitely in like a top 5. I mean, they made some good fucking movies at the end of the 80s. Good ones.
They did. And that brings us to the MFM store, where you'll find an assortment of classic Toxic Masculinity Ruins the Party Again merchandise, because apparently they still haven't gotten the frickin' memo. And that's at myfavoritemurder.com.
This episode is supported by FX's The Shards, a seductive drama from executive producer Ryan Murphy.
Set in 1980s Los Angeles, the series follows a group of glamorous, deeply entangled high school seniors drawn into a life of wealth, beauty, parties, and excess.
At its center is Brett, whose reality begins to unravel when the arrival of a new student coincides with a series of mysterious murders. FX's The Shards, now streaming on Hulu.
Goodbye. In the summer, healthy habits are easy to keep until you leave the house.
You walk out the door, and the next thing you know, you're barefoot and feral in a gas station candy aisle.
That's why Kachava makes it easy to maintain your routines.
Kachava is an all-in-one nutrition shake, and now it comes in new travel packs.
Every packet gives you a simple shake with protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals, greens, probiotics, omegas, electrolytes, and more.
They're easy to toss into a bag, easy to take on the road, and a simple way to stick with your normal wellness habits, even when your schedule changes.
Man, that Kachava matcha in the individual packs is like my dream snack. It's exactly what I need and want in between the like not great meals I'm eating for lunch and the snacks I would have had anyways that are terrible for me. Like, this is something I feel like I'm treating myself when I take.
You're treating yourself to vitamins, fiber, all these things that your body really wants and needs and kind of craves, that it does seem like it takes a big effort to get. So now you're getting it all in one packet and in a little drink you like.
Take your daily ritual with you.
Go to Kachava.com and use code MFM for 15% off your first order.
That's Kachava, KACHAVA.com, code MFM.
Goodbye. Buying clothes is easy. That's why everyone's always doing it.
But finding clothes you actually want to wear is the hard part.
Get all your favorite elevated essentials at Quince.
Quince specializes in effortless, high-quality essentials like ultra-soft organic cotton and premium Mongolian cashmere sweaters. They're beautifully tailored and built to last. And it's not just apparel. Quince also brings that same everyday elevation to everything they offer, from hotel-quality bedding and bath to kitchen staples, essentials, and thoughtfully designed furniture.
They work directly with ethical factories, so you're paying for quality, not brand markup.
It's so true that they have wonderful items that aren't just clothes. I have like 3 of their 100% mulberry silk pillowcases. I've bought throws from there. I've bought bedding from there. And it is just as great quality as their clothes and super affordable.
Upgrade your everyday.
Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/MFM. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
Now available in Canada and the UK too.
QUINCE.com/MFM.
Goodbye. All right. I go first this week, and I have been waiting to be able to cover this story and tell you about it.
Yeah.
And it just recently kind of resolved. And this story is, well, first of all, everyone knows about it. Anyone that listens to true crime or pays attention to true crime on a relatively regular basis has probably already listened to the Dateline podcast about this or watched the Dateline series on TV about it. But it's one of those true crime stories that when it was breaking in the news, I kept going, what? How is this possible? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Like every single little detail that would come out was more kind of frightening and chilling and outrageous than the next. So one of the main reasons I wanted to cover it was just the simplicity of saying it all at one time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's very satisfying where you're like, how did that happen? And it is kind of laid out in front of you. But again, like most of these stories, even when it's all laid out in front of you, you can't ever get to the truth of anything of like, but why?
Totally.
But why? So
what's it going to be? I'm on the edge of my seat right now waiting to hear what it is.
Okay. I've teed you up.
Yeah.
So it's autumn of 2019 in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And Kay and Larry Woodcock are very, very worried. They haven't been able to contact their 7-year-old grandson, JJ, or his adopted sister, Tylee, for quite some time. Right? You know what it is.
Shit. Yep.
On top of that, their mother has been acting very erratic lately. So Larry and Kay decide to contact the police in Rexburg, Idaho, where the family lives, to request a welfare check at their house. And when the police show up, JJ and Tylee aren't there, but their mother is, and she is ready to go with explanations. She tells the officers that Tylee's away at school and that JJ is staying with a family friend named Melanie, who lives in Arizona. So for a wellness check, that's kind of good news. All is well in this household. Except when police reach out to confirm this story with Melanie, Melanie tells the police JJ is not with her. So the police are concerned, and officers return to that house the next day with a search warrant, but they're surprised to find now that no one is home. And when they start to investigate, they find that the children's mother has just boarded a flight to Hawaii with her new husband, and JJ and Tylee are not with them. So as they try to piece this timeline of the children's whereabouts together, officers come up with an even more unsettling realization. And that is that no one has seen JJ or Tylee for 2 months. So now Rexburg police formally announce that both JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan are missing, and that their mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, and her husband, Chad Daybell, are the prime suspects in their disappearances.
Fuck.
This is the story of what Dateline termed Mommy Doomsday, Lori Vallow Daybell.
Damn.
It's bad. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's the kind of thing, because of course we talk about this sometimes, where it's like when a mother does any kind of harm to their child and how disturbing that is to people. And so those stories always get a ton of heat. It's that kind of thing where it's like 89%, that's a guess, whatever, but it's some crazy high percentage of people who commit homicide are men.
Yeah.
But with the percentage left over of women who do it, they fill the cable channels with women who snap and women who murder and mothers who do this and that. And it's because
they do it to their children. It's just so disturbing.
To their children. So it's like, it's one thing to be a sociopath and be greedy and be like, oh, I'm going to rob you and kill you or whatever. And this also, there's other factors folded in that are kind of relevant for today and the things that we're seeing people go through today. So the sources used in today's research are a 2023 episode of the Dateline television show titled The Trial of Lori Vallow Daybell, which is an unbelievable thing. You have to watch it. And also journalist Nate Eaton, who wrote for the East Idaho News, basically was the journalist that was reporting on this. So there's lots of articles that he wrote, and the rest are in our show notes. So let's start at the beginning. 1973 in Loma Linda, California, the Cox family are a tight-knit Mormon family with 5 kids, and their daughter Lori is a bubbly, charming, and happy-go-lucky kid. When she's in her teens, she's a high school cheerleader, and as she moves into adulthood, she becomes a competitor in regional beauty pageants. Eventually, she becomes a hairstylist. She moves to Texas. She remains devout to both her religion, and she also really loves having fun. She actually, at one point, becomes a contestant on Wheel of Fortune, and she wins $17,000.
Holy shit.
So her religious devotion doesn't mean that she's not up for a good time.
Yeah.
But Lori's love life hasn't been as positive as she has tried to be. By the time she's 32 years old, she's been married and divorced 3 times.
Whoa.
Yeah, she has a son named Colby from her second marriage, and she has a daughter named Tylee from her third marriage. By all accounts, Lori's an excellent parent and loves being a mother. Lori's third marriage is ending in a hostile divorce, and that's when she meets her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. Charles is a successful financial consultant, a divorced father of 2 boys, and he becomes one of Lori's clients at the salon. The second they meet, sparks fly. They quickly fall in love and marry in February of 2006. And then Lori and Charles take their new blended family with their 4 kids, and they move to Arizona. Charles was raised Catholic, but at his new wife's urging, he joins the Mormon church and he becomes an enthusiastic member. So 8 years go by and the Vallows seem like a picture-perfect family. And then in July of 2014, Lori and Charles reach out to Charles' sister, Kay Woodcock, who is from the top of the story, first person. So that summer, Kay and her husband, Larry, found themselves at a very difficult crossroads. They had been raising their autistic 2-year-old grandson, JJ, by themselves, and they had been doing that since he was an infant. They adore him, but they realize because they're older, they might not be the best fit to raise him. And Kay would say, quote, "That's when Charles called me and said, 'Hey, Lori and I would love to adopt him.' It was the easiest, hardest decision I've ever made," end quote. And then her husband, Larry, agrees, saying, "He was our little boy, but we knew in the future it would be the best for JJ," end quote. And it does seem like the best choice for him. JJ thrives in the Vallow household, and he's absolutely adored by every one of the family members, especially his sister, Tylee. Larry says, quote, "The family dynamic with those 4 children and with Charles and Lori, it just simply came to a circle with JJ in the center of it. It worked really well. Tylee, she loved JJ, and there was no doubt about it. Every time I ever saw them together, he was drawn to her, and she was very protective of him. She would hold him and kiss him. Tylee was an outstanding sister to JJ."
Oh my God.
End quote.
Oh.
So within a few years of JJ's coming to the family, things start to change. Lori is now in her mid-40s. She's always been extremely religious, and she's held some beliefs that some might consider fringe. But sometime around 2017, Lori becomes seriously interested in religious doomsday prepping. So if you've never heard of that, basically a doomsday prepper is a person who is actively preparing for the end of the world, usually because of religious interpretation of the Bible that says, like, the end is nigh, therefore we all have to start getting ready.
Right.
So in October of 2018, Lori attends a religious doomsday-focused conference in Utah with some of her friends.
Girls' trip. Can you imagine? That's your girls' trip.
I mean, the biggest drag of a girls' trip where it's like, yeah, you're just all sitting around a table at Applebee's, like, who wants to get apps and talk about how we're not long for this world and hopefully the Lord picks us.
Yeah.
Everyone in here is going to burn. Like, that's the mentality that
Right.
never made sense to me being raised as Catholic.
Yeah.
Is essentially when you're in church, everyone that's not in church with you is going to burn. And I would just think about it.
Yeah. And you're like celebrating that somehow. Like, we're winning. And fuck everyone else, which doesn't sound like a, Christian value of what I've heard of it.
Well, the idea is it's not fuck everyone else. It's get out there and get some converts.
Oh.
It's basically convince them this is real and true, and then they will join us, and then they'll be okay.
Right now, Karen, convince me.
Hey, Georgia, if you want to come to Catholic church with me, it's big and it's kind of echoey, and it smells like incense. And
but do I get to sit for a long, long time?
Yep. But then you stand up, but then you sit, and then you kneel, and then you sit, and then you stand.
Wait, is it all in a language I don't understand completely?
No. Don't be crazy. That was in the 70s. There's no Latin masses anymore, although my dad can tell you all about Latin mass because that's how he was raised.
Oh, God.
I mean, look, everybody gets to believe everything they want.
But should they, is the question.
But should they, or also, think about who's telling you why you need to believe it and what their motivation could possibly be.
Speaking of question your sources, my mom sent me a text the other day that said, from Fox News, COVID booster warning from Florida Surgeon General who advises people not to get the new vaccine, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, check your source. When the CDC says that, I'll listen. But when the fucking Florida, of all places, Surgeon General, hard pass.
Well, at the very end of that article, my sister was just telling me about this. She goes, at the end of the article, another doctor comes in and goes, not only is this not true, it'd be dangerous if you went ahead with this story. Then, of course, Fox News did.
Yeah, well, she sent it to me and I said, no, thanks.
No, friend.
And she got upset. Yeah.
Well, but at this point, does she want to be upset? Because that's what it feels like to me.
She said, I didn't realize that was news because she knows she can't share news with me. She thought it was health information. This is going off the rails, but my point is check your fucking sources. I'm not getting my sources about COVID from Fox News and Florida. You know what I mean?
At this point, you can't get your sources from quote unquote enemy territory of people that have completely thumbed their nose at a global pandemic that has killed millions of people.
Right. Sorry, that was a left turn.
No, that's right. All of this needs to be taken into consideration because we all have beliefs and we all believe our beliefs are correct. We all do. That is the human condition.
Vehemently. And we'll fight them. Even though it's clear when they're not right, we won't let them go.
In my experience, as life goes on, if you can check yourself in some sort of way to go, do I believe this or do I just want to fight right now? It's a good question to ask.
Do I want to be right? Totally.
They didn't do this in Dateline. So I wish we'd be a little more professional. No, there was no sidebar conversation.
About my mom.
So I basically told you about the girls' weekend at the Doomsday focused conference. Outfits. So it's there that Lori meets 50-year-old author Chad Daybell. So Chad is a church sexton and an occasional gravedigger who lives in Idaho with his wife Tammy.
Is this his hobby?
No, he volunteers at the church.
To dig graves?
Yeah, you have to... it's probably part of the church situation.
Sure.
Where it's you're inside doing the services and then every once in a while you have to go out there and help out.
Okay.
Now I feel defensive for him and he's absolutely the bad guy. Spoiler alert. Okay. So he lives in Idaho with his wife, Tammy, and she is the mother of their 5 adult children. He's also a religious writer and a staple at these Doomsday Prepper conferences. He is a lifelong member of the LDS Church, but he pushes the envelope when it comes to mainstream Mormon beliefs. For example, in his many self-published books, Chad talks about the coming apocalypse and writes extensively about how multiple near-death experiences have given him divine powers. That's another thing I think we see a lot recurring, which is when regular people start to tell the people in their small circle of their already kind of fringe beliefs that they have started talking to God.
Yeah. Red flag.
Yeah, if we're going to go through. So Lori and Chad are immediately drawn to one another. It's been described as an instant love at first sight type of connection. They wind up exchanging numbers. And once they get home to their families, they still talk to each other almost every single day. So as this relationship flourishes from afar, with Lori still in Arizona, Chad in Idaho, the people around Lori notice that she's becoming obsessive about the idea of a doomsday, of demons, and about the spirit world. God. So Lori's family starts worrying that she's getting maybe sucked into a cult because it's just odd and obsessive. Thanks to the later testimony of Lori's niece's ex-husband, a man named Brandon Boudreau, we know quite a bit about what exactly they were obsessed with. So apparently Chad and Lori believed that there were, quote, light and dark spirits among us who can infiltrate human bodies. And if a person becomes too dark, they turn into what they call zombies, which is their shorthand for demonic possession. So to get rid of a zombie and free the possessed host, you have to kill the body of the afflicted person.
Oh my God. Imagine if someone just started casually dropping that shit, that, someone you've known for a long time or in your family is just by the way.
Yeah.
That's scary.
No one's prepared for that conversation.
Right.
You don't have anything in your back pocket to be like, hey, can I stop you on the zombie theory and then present something else to maybe consider? Like, it's so wild that you're just, what could you say?
Yeah, they're already gone.
Especially if it's someone that, if they've really worked on this theory or this is something that's been happening kind of behind closed doors, then you're just like, sorry, what are you talking about, a TV show? Like, it's bewildering in and of itself. So Lori starts taking advantage of her husband Charles' frequent business trips out of town. While he's away, Lori hosts get-togethers in her home where she and Chad share their beliefs with guests. So there is a little bit of a culty vibe starting, which is our beliefs. It's not going to be that many people. We're all going to get together and we're going to talk about this. And we're going to really give it some credence and some weight. The threat of demonic zombies, the end of the world, and the fact that Lori and Chad are on a higher plane of divinity than everyone else. Chad claiming to be a Mormon prophet, Lori claiming to be a goddess.
Okay, Burning Man over here.
I mean, just imagine being invited to that and being like, no, I wasn't in that. What?
Yeah,
you
I
said
thought
what?
This was Tupperware.
Hey, I just want a game night.
I came for the cubed Costco cheese platter. What's going on here?
What is happening? So obviously, Lori and Charles' once solid marriage is no longer doing well. The couple's friends notice them arguing a lot. Nothing Charles does seems to make Lori happy. And Charles says that as their relationship gets worse, Lori is becoming more and more hostile and threatening. And finally, she accuses Charles of being dark-spirited and claims that he's been overtaken by a demon who, for whatever reason, is named Nick or Ned Schneider.
How do you defend yourself from an accusation like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's basically a person looking at you and going, something's wrong with me, and now I'm going to yell it into your face. And so you have to like be accused of something while simultaneously being worried about a person.
Oy.
Charles actually texted some of his friends and wrote to them, quote, "It's the freakiest thing I've ever experienced." So yeah, very scary. So we don't know if Lori genuinely believes that her husband is being taken over by dark spirits, or if she's just using that as an excuse to justify the extramarital affair that she's having. But it's clear that she is getting very close to Chad Daybell. She even tells one of her friends that she and Chad have, quote, sealed themselves. Now, in the Mormon church, sealing yourself is a sacred binding of two people in the temple. You don't do it to yourselves. That's not like part of it. And they're definitely not allowed to be sealed if they are already married to other people.
Yeah.
But Lori tells her friend that she and Chad have already been married in a past life. So this is all above board. Again, will bring back the Mormon faith does not believe in past lives. So there's stuff really happening here.
Yeah.
So now Charles comes home from another business trip to discover that Lori has locked him out of the house. He can tell no one's home. He has no idea where she is or where his kids are. He tries to call her. She doesn't answer. He calls the police. They basically show up and let him inside of his own house. And that's when Charles decides he's had enough with this increasingly disturbing behavior. He tells an officer, quote, "Lori has lost her mind. She's threatened me. She said she was going to murder me. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a god. I'm as bewildered as you are, and I don't know what to do." End quote.
Scary.
It's easy to assume that he got some like officer's advice or something, because Charles files a petition for an emergency mental evaluation for Lori. And so the next day, Lori goes to the police department herself, and then she gives her side of the story. She says Charles' claims are all baseless. She says she left the house and took the kids because she wants nothing to do with him. She claims Charles is retaliating against her out of spite because their marriage is falling apart. She voluntarily completes the mental evaluation, and she's ultimately deemed to have a, quote, normal state of mind. So Charles files for divorce. He's just like, that, I'm done either way. He leases an apartment. He sets up regular visitation times with JJ, who's now 7 years old, and he tries to move on with his life. But he is still freaked out by Lori's fanatical behavior. And eventually, Charles' lawyers encourage him to get an order of protection against her during their divorce process. He also removes Lori from his life insurance plan, which has a $1 million payout, and he changes that to his sister, Kay Woodcock, who is now the beneficiary. Lori is never informed about that change. So now it's July of 2019. It's basically about 8 or 9 months since Lori and Chad met at the conference. And out of the blue one afternoon, Charles' 2 adult sons get a disturbing text from Lori. And here's what it says, quote, "Hi, boys. I have very sad news. Your dad passed away yesterday morning. I'm working on making arrangements and I'll keep you informed with what's going on. I'm still not sure how to handle things. Just want you to know that I love you and so did your dad."
What
End
the
quote.
fuck?
She fucking texted them.
The day after.
So they're, of course, stunned.
Yeah.
They're just like, you've got to be kidding me. That's how they find out their dad is dead. They try to call and text Lori. She never responds.
Shit.
They eventually learn the details of their father's death by Googling it.
Oh my God.
And it turns out he was shot to death by Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox. You have to listen, if you haven't listened to Mommy Doomsday, the Dateline podcast. You absolutely have to listen to it. It's Keith Morrison is the host and narrator.
Angel.
So that's great in and of itself. But it's as thoroughly reported on all of these kind of detail parts. There's so much to it, like the details of this kind of falling apart, including Alex Cox and his involvement in his sister's life, which seems very codependent and very unhealthy. But basically, what we know is that Lori and Alex, they both tell police similar stories. They claim that on July 11th, 2019, Charles swung by Lori's house to pick up JJ as scheduled to take him to school. And at some point during this, Alex, who was staying at Lori's house, which is something he didn't normally do, he says he confronted Charles for allegedly abusing Lori. And just to be clear right up front, there is no proof or indication Charles was ever abusive towards Lori. Regardless, Alex says that a fight breaks out between the two of them. He claims Charles picks up a baseball bat and begins swinging it. So in response, Alex pulls out his gun and shoots Charles multiple times in self-defense.
Oh my God.
The family is at home. JJ and Tylee are at home. Lori is at home. Once this happens, Lori takes those kids and leaves the house. So this is clearly a horrifying and traumatic experience for everybody that was in that house when that happened. And should be said always that people respond to trauma in all different ways. So when Alex calls 911, he seems weirdly calm and unfazed. It's just very regular. Lori, on the other hand, is upbeat. She leaves the scene to drop JJ off at school. Yeah. She returns to the house with Tylee. And this is a scene that's caught on body cam that you can see in the Dateline TV special, which is in and of itself an amazing and incredibly thorough thing. So they have body cam footage of her. And she immediately says she's only lived in the house for 3 weeks. And she makes a joke about how this event, the shooting death of her estranged husband by her own brother, will make her seem like a bad neighbor. And then she says, quote, "I'm like, hey, neighbor, sorry."
Oh my God.
So later we'll learn that just minutes after Charles was shot dead, Lori took the kids through a Burger King drive-thru to get breakfast. And later that same day, after Charles' body has been taken away, Lori throws a pool party at the house, a big one, with, quote, loud music and lots of people swimming.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Also, she never writes an obituary for Charles. She never plans a funeral for Charles. She ships his ashes to his family, and they hold a memorial service of their own for him.
Those poor people. Oh my God.
Yeah. Horrifying.
Yeah.
And then Lori refuses to let JJ attend his father's funeral. So Alex Cox is never criminally charged for Charles' death. The investigators seem to accept the self-defense claim, and that's it. But of course, over time, cracks will emerge in Lori and Alex's story. For starters, Forensic experts will eventually question whether Charles ever held the bat that day, as there is no physical evidence found to support that he touched it.
Do you think that they had the pool party to like get rid of any physical evidence that could have been there? Or just
you mean like to cover everything up?
Yeah. Or is it just crazy?
It could be that, and it could be, I'm having absolutely no idea what's going on with her mentally. So it could be, she's a sociopath and there's no feelings whatsoever.
Yeah.
It could be that she has been pulled into this kind of cult thinking of like, everything's about to end, nothing matters. Some people are these zombies, you have to protect yourself from them, fear, fear, fear. And then like the denial, she's freaking out maybe inside. So she's like, party, we have to have a party and like cover it up.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And like kind of fill the empty space with like people and talking and noise.
Totally.
And then also, along with the other physical evidence, the position of Charles' gunshot wounds suggest that the second shot was fired while he was already on the floor, which is in direct conflict with Alex's claim that he fired in self-defense while Charles was charging at him with a bat. So phone records eventually show Charles arrived at the house at 7:35 a.m. and Lori took the kids and left by 7:49. So 14 minutes. Lori and the kids were in the house when Charles was killed sometime between 7:35 and 7:49, but Alex didn't call 911 until 8:36 a.m., over 45 minutes later.
Fuck.
And even still, he tells the operator that Charles was shot just minutes ago. We also will eventually learn that just hours after Charles' death, Chad Daybell, who still lives in Idaho, calls a local Arizona funeral home and asks for a price quote on cremating a body. And he used his own name when he made that phone call.
What the fuck?
Doesn't look great for like that there's some pre-planning going on, or at least some discussion.
Yeah.
So days later, when Lori learns that she's no longer the beneficiary of Charles' $1 million life insurance plan, she texts Chad and tells him, quote, I talked to the insurance company. He changed it in March. So it was probably Ned before we got rid of him. End quote.
Damn.
So Lori actually uses the words got rid of him when talking about her now dead husband and the demon that they're accusing him of having. So now it's just weeks after Charles' death. Communication between Lori and Charles' grieving family just stops. Kay and Larry Woodcock are extremely suspicious of the claim that Alex Cox killed Charles in self-defense, and they can't help but notice that Lori seems to be cutting their phone calls with JJ short. So they're trying to talk to him, make sure he's okay, and she's like rushing him off the phone.
Yeah.
Then a few weeks after that, Kay and Larry cannot reach their grandson at all. In early September 2019, less than 2 months after Charles' death, Lori suddenly moves Tylee and JJ out of Arizona and into a townhouse in Rexburg, Idaho, close to Chad Daybell. He lives in nearby Salem with his wife, Tammy. Lori's brother, Alex Cock, also moves to Rexburg in the same housing complex as Lori. And then on September 8th, shortly after the family makes the big move, Alex, Lori, and the kids take a trip to Yellowstone National Park. Tylee, just days shy of her 17th birthday, poses for a picture holding JJ, and that will be the last known photo of Tylee that's ever taken. And after this, essentially Tylee disappears. This episode is supported by FX's The Shards, a seductive drama from executive producer Ryan Murphy.
Set in 1980s Los Angeles, the series follows a group of glamorous, deeply entangled high school seniors drawn into a life of wealth, beauty, parties, and excess.
At its center is Brett, whose reality begins to unravel when the arrival of a new student coincides with a series of mysterious murders. FX's The Shards, now streaming on Hulu.
Goodbye. Summers for adventures, road trips, and adding a whole lot of miles to your car.
That's why it's worth stopping at Valvoline Instant Oil Change first.
If you need an oil change, make the smart stop at Valvoline Instant Oil Change before you hit the highway.
Their trained techs can help you get road trip ready with an oil change and an 18-point maintenance check included with every oil change, checking your tire pressure, wipers, lights, and more.
That means they're checking important things before you're halfway to your aunt's house with no cell service.
And these aren't just any techs. Valvoline Instant Oil Change techs specs, complete over 270 hours of training, so your car's in capable hands.
The best part? You can stay in your car and you're in and out in about 15 minutes.
So before your next long summer ride, pull into Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Change wisely.
Goodbye.
If you're always on the lookout for a great audiobook or just want help figuring out what to listen to next, there's a podcast you should know about.
It's called Earsay, the Audible and iHeart Audio Book Club, hosted by Cal Penn.
Each episode takes a closer look at some of the most talked about new audiobooks on Audible, spanning a wide range of genres from sci-fi and literary fiction to rom-coms, thrillers, and comedy.
Cal is joined by guests who dig into what these stories are about, what makes them stand out as audiobooks, and why they're connecting with listeners right now.
If you're looking for your next listen, this is a great place to start.
Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart Audiobook Club on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Goodbye.
So thanks to GPS and phone records, we now know a few crucial things about what happened next. Records show that the family is back in Rexburg on September 9th, and that night, Alex Koch was inside Lori's townhouse between 2:42 a.m. and 8:49 a.m. And not long after that, around 9 a.m., Alex's phone pings at Chad Daybell's house. It's believed that Alex stays there until around noon. Coincidentally, at 11:53 that morning, Chad texts his wife, Tammy, saying, "Well, I've had an interesting morning. Spotted a big raccoon along the fence, hurried and got my gun. He was still walking along, got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times." End quote.
Oh, that's bleak.
So if Chad's wife, Tammy, did happen to notice a fresh grave on their property, then that text from her husband would explain it and basically keep it off of her mind.
Right.
Tammy is wholly unaware of her husband's affair. She doesn't even know who Lori or her children are. She would have no reason to doubt what her husband is telling her. Meanwhile, Tylee's 17th birthday comes and goes, and she is nowhere to be found. Her friends and family are incredibly concerned, but when anyone asks Lori where her daughter is, she just has all different explanations. She tells one friend Tylee has enrolled in classes at BYU, Idaho, and she's away on campus, which doesn't really make sense because Tylee isn't quite college aged yet. But it does seem to work, I'm sure, because it sounds like school and planning and kind of like, oh, she's off doing school stuff.
Yeah.
Around the same time as that, Lori starts telling people in her inner circle that JJ is a zombie.
Oh, dear.
One friend would later say, quote, "Lori was obsessed with talking about it to the point where she was saying, look how he's behaving. Look how hyper he is here. She was planting ideas to show me that she believed he was a zombie. But to my mind, he looked like typical JJ."
What the fuck do you do with that information if you're the friend?
It's so sinister. And I'm sure the average person, if she's talking, that's a person in her inner circle.
Right.
So she's just giving her the story that she wants to give her.
Yeah.
That's a person who's already accepted that thinking.
Right.
Like that concept is okay with me. Now you're talking about it's your own child.
Right.
If this is your belief system, it's your belief system.
Yeah.
But where are the limits within that?
Yeah.
Are there any?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then on September 22nd, at some point between 9 p.m. and midnight, Alex Cox is seen walking into Lori's house with JJ, who's asleep in his arms. And this is the last time anyone sees JJ. So later, police will look at Alex Cox's phone records from around this time, and the data they find places Alex on Chad Daybell's property at 9:59 the following morning, mere hours after JJ is last seen at Lori's house. So now it's late September 2019. It hasn't even been a year since Lori and Chad Daybell met at that conference.
Shit.
Yeah. Yet in the past 3 months alone, Lori's husband, Charles, has been shot dead by her brother, and her two children, Tylee and JJ, are suddenly missing. And meanwhile, Chad is still married to his wife of nearly 30 years, Tammy. Everything seems fine with them on the surface, until Chad starts sharing a disturbing prophecy with his friends. He claims to have a vision that Tammy is going to die before her 50th birthday, and that's less than a year away. So on October 9th, 2019, Tammy Daybell has a frightening encounter with a strange man in a ski mask. As she's unloading groceries from her car, he approaches her while holding what Tammy thinks is a paintball gun. She'll later post about the encounter on Facebook saying, "He shot at me several times, although I didn't think it was loaded. I was about to smack him with my freezer meals when I decided to yell for Chad instead." End quote. So the Daybells call 911, but at that point, the gunman is long gone. It's now believed that this man was Alex Cox, and he was trying to shoot a real gun at Tammy, but it jammed. At the time, police write off this encounter as a prank. 10 days later, another 911 call is placed from the Daybell residence. This time it's Chad. He tells the dispatcher Tammy has died in her sleep.
Oh my God.
So this is an absolute shock. Tammy Daybell is a school librarian. She is an avid runner. She's a sharp woman. She's only 49 years old. Chad immediately declines an autopsy and hastily schedules Tammy's funeral just 3 days later.
You can just decline an autopsy if a healthy person dies?
I guess so, if there's no suspicion,
Right.
if there's no reason to be suspicious. But wouldn't you want to know what happened? Wouldn't you want the full story?
Definitely.
So her funeral is so rushed that some of her own family members can't make it for the service, and she's immediately buried. Less than 2 weeks after that, Chad and Lori run off to Hawaii to get married. Less than 2 weeks after his wife dies in her sleep.
Fucking weeks.
They take pictures of themselves smiling in white outfits, wearing matching leis and dancing on the beach.
You.
Horrifying. Back on the mainland, the Woodcocks have called the police and requested the welfare check on JJ and Tylee. So this is where we're coming back around to where we started. So the police have just publicly declared JJ and Tylee missing, and they find out that Lori and Chad have gone back to Hawaii after having been married there just weeks before. So they get married, I believe it was the end of September, and they were basically just there. It's like 6 or 8 weeks later. So Rexburg detectives start turning up the heat on these newlyweds. They want Lori to prove that her children are safe, and they tell her all she needs to do is bring Tylee and JJ by the police station and show them that they're okay. Lori doesn't do it. She doesn't show up. She ignores that request. And then, around this time, yet another shocking death takes place. On December 12th, 2019, just weeks after Lori and Chad get married, Alex Cox is found dead.
Oh, shit.
There's tons of initial suspicion around his death. It's eventually determined that he died of natural causes, although it's reported that he did have Narcan in his system when he died, which is the drug you take when you overdose on opioids.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So now the FBI has joined the Rexburg police in the search for Tylee and JJ. And at the same time, Kay and Larry Woodcock have announced a $20,000 reward for the children's safe return. So pretty soon this case breaks in the news. It's covered all over the world. Strangers from everywhere are anxiously waiting to hear what happened to Tylee and JJ and where their mother is, like what the explanation possibly could be, like what is actually going on.
I remember it being like this, like there's no way they can come up with a simple explanation. Like there's nothing here that's just like simple at this point. So what kind of fuckery is it going to be? Because it was clearly going to be some kind of fuckery going on.
It wasn't going to be anybody's going to come back and say, oh, it's this misunderstanding and don't worry, you don't have to worry about us. Impossible. Also, those two children and their faces being on the news every single night, it's like, I feel like I'll always know what they look like.
Little angel faces.
But also just that, like, how can this be a question mark?
Yeah.
How can it just be a months-long question mark? Slowly it breaks that they're in Hawaii and they're just kind of not answering questions, which that's when you just go, my very cynical true crime follower side goes, this is the worst news of all.
Myself as like an auntie was like, if my sister wasn't telling me where the fuck my nephews were and I hadn't seen them in months or heard about anything going on, I'd be fucking losing my mind. And it just would be like, what a horrible, horrible experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that my sister would do that. She's a great fucking mom, but you know.
No, she's Lee is a badass
Yes.
and she's great.
Yeah.
But no, it's just that it's such an unimaginable position.
Yeah.
It's just unimaginable. It doesn't make sense. And the idea that the people who knew Lori Vallow and that talked to her, that were slowly listening to her talk about the end of the world and slowly listening to her talk about all this other stuff, they must have been scared to death.
Yeah, yeah.
So on January 25th, with both children still missing, police finally tracked down Lori and Chad in Hawaii, sitting poolside in their swimsuits. They served them a court order requiring Lori to present both Tylee and JJ to authorities within 5 days. And on January 30th, which was 5 days later, that court order deadline rolls around, but Lori does not show up. She's still in Hawaii. It was a court order for the mainland. Soon after that, Lori is arrested on multiple charges, including 2 counts of felony desertion of a child. She is held on $5 million bail. On February 29th, Chad, who can't pay that bail, winds up returning to Rexburg without his new wife. Things aren't looking great for him either, because as detectives continue investigating the children's disappearances, they get a search warrant for Chad's property in Salem. And as everyone holds their breath and waits to see what the results of this search warrant are, we all find out that human remains are found buried in the yard at Chad Daybell's property. And then it's soon confirmed that these remains do in fact belong to 16-year-old Tylee Ryan and 7-year-old JJ Vallow. So Chad Daybell is promptly arrested and sent to jail. Meanwhile, the police are now taking a much closer look at Tammy Daybell's mysterious death, thank God. They soon find incriminating texts between Lori and Chad, including one message that describes Tammy as being, quote, possessed by a spirit.
Dude.
A chilling parallel to the Ned Schneider text messages Lori sent about Charles ahead of his untimely death. So they exhume Tammy Daybell's body. An autopsy is finally performed. The pathologist concludes that Tammy Daybell was, in fact, murdered. Her cause of death was asphyxiation. And as detectives continue investigating, they learn that phone records once again place Alex Cox near the Daybell's neighborhood on the night that Tammy died. So the picture that's coming into focus is a nightmarish murder spree.
Yeah.
That's like a brother murder for hire spree.
Yeah. Of children.
While these two people, of children, of loved ones.
Yeah. Innocent fucking loved ones. Yeah.
So by late May 2021, there are already a slew of charges brought against both Lori and Chad Daybell, and now new charges are introduced. Lori and Chad are both charged with first-degree murder for Tylee and JJ's deaths. Chad is charged with first-degree murder for Tammy's death, and Lori is charged with conspiracy to commit murder for Tammy's death. Both Lori and Chad plead not guilty to all charges. The couple is tried separately, and Lori's case goes to court first. Her trial begins this past April of 2023.
Damn. So just like I can't count, 6 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, it's September.
April, May, June, July, August, September. Yes, 6 months.
Nice one.
Thank you.
So right off the bat, of course, it's a complete media circus. Cameras are banned from the courtroom, but for some reason, audio recordings are permitted. So people are actually live streaming.
Like anyone can audio record, essentially.
I'm not sure, but they're basically, it's being live streamed, and then citizen sleuths are just listening and trying to put together theories and like trying to piece this thing together and just analyzing all of these wild details.
Sure.
Journalist Nate Eaton of the East Idaho News says, quote, there were people from everywhere, Australia, South Africa, all of the states. You had to get a ticket, and those tickets were gone every day within 1 minute. It was like a Taylor Swift concert.
Damn.
So now the Doomsday Mom headlines start to dominate this case. Prosecutors argue that Lori's trial is not just about religious zealotry, though. It's also about money, power, and sex. The jury learns that Lori continued to collect her kids' Social Security benefits after they were missing.
Damn.
And in addition to Lori trying to cash in on Charles' life insurance, it's revealed that just 2 days after Tammy Daybell passed away, Chad contacted her school district and asked about an insurance payout. Dateline reported that, quote, in all the history of the district, they had never had somebody come in so quick to find out how to claim life insurance money.
See, I was wondering that when you said that, like, what is a normal amount of time? Because there is like people who don't have money to cover the funeral or, you know, pay rent next month.
Right.
So they need the life insurance, but I guess it's all circumstantial evidence.
Well, I think it's also, imagine getting the real news of someone like your husband being dead, and then how quickly you would start doing that kind of business.
Yeah.
Like how you'd even be able to think within a week or two's time. Like oftentimes that's other people, other family members. And it would just kind of be like a different story and a different setup.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Yeah. Maybe some people sit down and they've completely repressed every feeling and they're like, I have to take care of business. But I think it's really saying something that they're like, in the history of this school district, no one's ever called that fast.
That's what I like to hear, is like the details of like what really happens.
So prosecutors say that Lori used her small cult-like group to exercise power over other people, including her brother, Alex Cox. They argue that Alex was all in on Lori and Chad's religious ideas and that he was essentially manipulated into doing anything, even murder, for his, quote, goddess sister. But because Alex is dead, we will never know his true motives or beliefs. It's all conjecture.
Right.
So in Lori's trial, prosecutors focus on the idea that Lori was infatuated with Chad Daybell and wanted to get rid of any obstacle that might keep them apart, including her own family members. There was so much damning testimony and evidence, from wedding rings purchased while Tammy was still alive, to Chad introducing Lori to his neighbors as a grieving mother weeks before her children were declared missing.
Oh, shit.
I mean, just every detail is worse than the last. But the most disturbing, heart-wrenching revelations from the trial are all about Tylee and JJ. Police officers give testimony that's heartbreaking and horrific, describing how they found their remains. Everyone in the courtroom saw photos from the crime scene and JJ's autopsy, because it's all evidence. Yeah. Which is really something to consider when people are being looky-loos, or people are like, oh no, I want to see how this all plays out. Yeah. And it's like, with something like that, I really wonder how many of those people were like, this was a terrible idea.
Right.
This is not anything I actually wanted to have to come face to face with, the reality of it.
Well, I also wonder about the jurors who are forced to see that stuff. And like, we don't offer any PTSD counseling post like traumatic trials like that. It's just like, now go home and go on your way after seeing the fucking worst of the worst.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. So, of course, there's a big emotional reaction throughout the courtroom. Lori begins to cry. She asks to leave. The judge denies her request. And apparently you can hear Larry Woodcock weeping in the courtroom as like those things are shown.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just horrifying for everybody. Yeah. Finally, the prosecution rests its case, and all eyes are now on Lori Vallow's defense team. Most people expect her lawyers to argue something like there's no concrete proof that she herself, as opposed to Alex or Chad, carried out these killings. But to everyone's total shock, Lori's attorney stands up and simply says, quote, "We do not believe the prosecution has proven this case, and we rest our case."
Whoa. Nothing. No defense.
That's it. Yep. They don't mount a defense. Lori does not testify. They don't call witnesses. They don't present any evidence at all.
What the fuck?
And later during closing arguments, Lori's lawyer places all the blame on Chad Daybell. And he says, quote, "Why can't people escape religious leaders? Why can't Lori escape and get back to her good mom life? Is Lori a leader or a follower of Chad?" So she so wants to be a leader, but she's not leading anyone. She's following Chad. She thinks Chad is following Jesus, but he is not.
So why didn't they call anyone to like testify about how enamored she was with him? And you know what I mean? Like, because there wasn't anyone to fucking do that.
Right. Because that probably wouldn't have been the story. But still, what a bold move.
Yeah.
No case.
Yeah.
Our case is no case. I was shocked when I read that part. I was shocked. The jury deliberates for 7 hours, and then they come back with a verdict. Lori Vallow Daybell is found guilty on both counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and a grand theft charge for taking her children's Social Security benefits. She is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. After the trial, Kay and Larry Woodcock stand outside of the courtroom speaking to the media. Larry tells reporters, quote, JJ, I love you. Tylee, I love you. Tammy, I'm sorry for what happened to you. My heart hurts. My heart hurts for these three. This is what this has all been about from the very get-go. It started with 2 children missing, and I stood up and I said, where are the children? Where are the children? Horrible. Mm-hmm. So Lori Vallow very recently appealed her convictions, citing procedural issues that ranged from her trial jury's selection process to the judge's declaration that Lori was mentally fit for trial. It's unclear what will become of her appeal. Meanwhile, authorities in Arizona have now indicted Lori on additional charges related to the murder of her third husband, Charles Vallow.
Oh, good.
It's unclear when these will go to court. Chad Daybell's trial is set for April of 2024. And that is the story that Dateline and I think a bunch of other media outlets called Mommy Doomsday. Lori Vallow and the tragic deaths of 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, 7-year-old JJ Vallow, 49-year-old Tammy Daybell, and 62-year-old Charles Vallow.
Wow. Great job covering that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I watched those Dateline episodes and it's rough. I mean,
horrifying.
Just evil fucking people.
Evil people, and also just under this concept of like, okay, here's our belief system. Now we're going to go dig inside of that and go to an even rarer belief system that have many less people that get to have a say in what we're doing and saying. And it's like, once your beliefs only include like 12 people in your living room, there's a problem.
Yeah. And to happen so fast too, within only, less than a year, that shit should take 10 fucking years, to like indoctrinate people and to slowly, it's like they were prime and like wanting to have these beliefs because they happen so fast.
It happened so fast. And then they murdered so many people.
But like close to them people.
Yes. It hired a family member to murder them. And just by percentages, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that Alex Cox also could have been murdered, since he's the only person that would have known like the true details and all the worst parts.
Just going to say, why do you think they murdered Alex Cox? Because clearly they did.
Right.
So what was their reasoning behind that? Like, was he like the children? It was too much. It seemed like he was involved with that part. So I don't know.
But it's like, how are they saying he died of natural causes? Like,
there's no way.
It's just unprovable. It's all that stuff where it's like, it doesn't mean the truth has been found out. It's just that they're saying there are limits to what we can find out.
Right. It's all alleged until it's not.
So crazy. Just one of the craziest stories. It's almost unsatisfying, actually, to see it all on paper, because I thought there would be an explanation of how they could do it or something.
Well, you almost like want her to be brainwashed because it's an explanation that at least we can like try to understand. But it was such a short time and everything happened so quickly. It seems like she was 100% on board with what was going on.
Just who knows? God damn.
Yeah. It's been an hour and 12. My story's really long.
Should we do a 2-parter?
I think so.
My story's so sorry.
No, the whole time I was like, cool. I don't have to
go. You're like, bye.
Yeah. Well, it was great. I was like on the edge of my pants the whole time. And wow, what a fucked up story.
It's so bad. You think you want to know. Yeah. I'm one of those people. I thought I wanted to know. This is what it always happens. Then you know, and you're like, damn.
But you don't know anything. Like, it's like a cold case where it's like, I still don't understand. I still don't understand humanity and why and what's going on and how all the things.
How much is denial? How much is just a total lack of, humanity is the right word.
All right. Well, I'll go next week. I have a long one. It's a good one. I think you're going to like it.
Perfection. I love it. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for being here with us. We really appreciate when you join us on this little podcast.
Do. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Stay sexy.
And don't get murdered.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Elvis, do you want a cookie?
This has been an Exactly Right production.
Our senior producer is Alejandra Keck.
Our managing producer is Hannah Kyle Creighton.
Our editor is Aristotle Acevedo.
This episode was mixed by Liana Squillace.
Our researchers are Maren McClashin and Allie Elkin.
Email your hometowns to myfavoritemurder@gmail.com.
Follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at myfavoritemurder and Twitter at myfavemurder. Goodbye. The best time to think about home security is before you need it.
That's exactly why they're Simply Safe.
Traditional home security only alerts you after a break-in has already happened, and that's too late. Simply Safe is changing that.
Simply Safe's US-based live agents identify threats on your property and help deter them so intruders never get to your house.
The system is customizable so you can build one that fits your home and your specific needs.
The 24/7 professional monitoring is effective and affordable and won't lock you into a long-term contract.
I think that's what's so scary for so many people is that long-term contract. And like, what if it turns out you don't like it or need it, but they don't have that because they know you'll like it and you'll know that you need it and feel so much safer when you have it. Like at this point in my life, I would never go without a security system on my house. I just feel safer with actually having Simply Safe around.
There's a whole staff at Simply Safe that's waiting to talk to you and help you out. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplysafe.com/MFM.
That's half off at simplysafe.com/MFM.
There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Goodbye. The kids are back in school. Now it's your turn to head back to the beach.
During Cheap Caribbean's Back to Beach sale, save $200 site-wide on vacation packages of 4 nights or more with code 200BEACH.
Trade school drop-offs for beach walks, lunch boxes for beach bars, and your daily routine for adults-only relaxation.
Use code 200BEACH and get more beach for less money.
Book your beach vacay today at cheapcaribbean.com. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. Our prestige salon quality hair color delivers gorgeous, multi-dimensional color and 100% gray coverage. Color at home or visit one of our 95 plus hair color bars nationwide and let our licensed pros do it for you. Visit madison-reed.com and use code podcast20 for 20% off your first order or service. Confident, bold, unstoppable. That's the power of Madison Reed.